Imagine a time 6,000 years ago when humans roamed the earth, living well over 900 years, forging metals with incredible skill and creating music that echoed through valleys and mountains. These ancient people were not the primitive beings we often envision. They were innovators and creators who laid the groundwork for all that we cherish today. Have you ever wondered how they achieved such remarkable feats? The answer lies in their profound connection to God and their unwavering faith, which guided them in their pursuits. Today, as we explore the astonishing capabilities of our ancestors, I invite you to reflect. What miracles has Jesus done in your life? Drop a comment below sharing your story or where you're from, and remember, Jesus is with you, blessing you every step of the way. Now let's dive in and discover the extraordinary legacy of our forebears. In the ancient narratives that weave through the texts of Genesis, the story of early human civilization unfolds with captivating intricacy. Often overlooked in its simplicity, Genesis chapters 4 and 5 offer profound insights into the origins and development of civilization. At first glance, these passages might seem just a record of genealogies and brief accounts, but embedded within them are rich descriptions of humanity's journey towards mastering technology and establishing social structures. Following the dramatic events of Cain and Abel, where the tension of brotherly strife tragically framed humanity's fragility and ambition, we find the next generations pushing forward. With the earth as their canvas, early humans began to etch out the first strokes of civilization. The descendants of Adam and Eve, expanding from the initial family unit, started to form the roots of society through their diverse pursuits and innovations. Agriculture and animal husbandry emerge as significant milestones in Genesis 4. They mark humanity's shift from nomadic hunter-gatherer lifestyles to more settled and strategic methods of sustenance. This mastery over nature not only secured food, but also laid the groundwork for social exchange and economic stability. As they learned to sow seeds, plant vineyards, and tend animals, early communities could envisage a future beyond mere survival. The ability to store food meant that communities no longer needed to move continually in search of nourishment. This newfound stability began to underpin burgeoning communities, allowing them the time and energy to explore other areas of development. Alongside the growth in agriculture, there was a blossoming of artistry and craftsmanship. Jubal, mentioned in Genesis 4:21, is traditionally recognized as the father of all who play stringed instruments and pipes. This early mention of music signifies more than just entertainment. It suggests a society beginning to value expression and culture. The development of music likely played a role in rituals, celebrations, and the very fabric of human connection, enhancing communication and emotional expression. Similarly, the mention of Tubal-Cain, an instructor of every craftsman in bronze and iron, Genesis 4:22, highlights an early mastery of metallurgy. This technological leap forward signifies a pivotal point where humanity began to craft tools and weapons, marking a significant advancement in their ability to manipulate the environment for both survival and industry. Metallurgy brought the capability to create stronger farming tools, contributing to further agricultural efficiency, and its impact can be traced through the eventual rise of more complex societal structures. The vitality of these societal advancements gains further depth when one considers the extended lifespans recorded during this era. The long lives, with some individuals living for several centuries, as described in Genesis chapter 5, suggest a continuity of knowledge that would have been invaluable. Each generation not only built upon the achievements of the last, but did so with the direct guidance of their predecessors. This continuity enabled the transfer of complex skills and the accumulation of collective wisdom across generations. Elders with extensive life experience could teach with an unparalleled perspective, guiding their descendants through the challenges and opportunities of life. This period marks a fascinating prelude to the eventual establishment of cities and structured governance. It is not just the beginnings of agriculture, music, and metallurgy, but also the cultivation of knowledge, tradition, and social bonds that would form the bedrock of civilization as we understand it. These elements shaped the human experience, threading through their existence a tapestry rich in innovation and cultural evolution. As the growth of early civilization continued, it inevitably steered towards the development of more intricate societal forms, including the necessity for organized communities and cities. The stage was set for significant changes to come, arising from the need for protection and societal order, a transformation that Cain would spearhead following his own tumultuous path, post his fateful actions. The narrative hints at the inevitability of urbanization as an extension of the societal advantages discovered by these early humans. Thus, the seeds sown during these early biblical times germinated into advanced societies driven by ingenuity and a profound capacity to adapt and transform their world. Each discovery, each new skill not only ensured survival, but laid the essential foundational stones upon which the complexities of future civilizations were built. While the narratives of Genesis provide a spiritual framework, they also deliver a profound glimpse into the incredible journey of humanity from solitude and simplicity to interconnected complexity and community. Situated within the annals of biblical history, the founding of the first city carries profound significance, transcending mere urban development to touch upon themes of human nature, divine interaction, and societal evolution. Within the context of Genesis 4, particularly verses 17 through 24, this chapter embarks on a journey to explore why the establishment of the first city by Cain emerged not as a beacon of cultural renaissance or commercial vibrancy, but rather as a testament to the primal instinct for protection and survival in a world shaped by violence and fear. Cain, after committing the first fratricide, was exiled by God, bearing a divine mark that both protected and set him apart. This exile forged a path that led him to build the world's first city, a city not born out of aspiration, but necessity. Cain's actions following the murder of Abel dramatically symbolize the shift from innocence to the harsh reality of human existence post-Eden. In a landscape previously unmarred by human blood, Cain's act of violence introduced a new paradigm of existence entwined with fear and alienation. Genesis 4:17 recounts Cain's decision to build a city and name it Enoch, after his son. It is worth noting that the Hebrew term for city here, Ir, might conjure modern connotations of bustling metropolises, but its ancient essence could more closely align with fortified dwellings necessary in a world now fraught with dangers, both seen and unseen. The impetus behind this city's founding is deeply rooted in Cain's need for protection. Fearing retaliation for his crime, despite God's assurance that anyone who killed him would suffer vengeance 7 times over, Cain's city represented a physical manifestation of fortification, a tangible barrier against the threat of survival in a once peaceful land now perceived as hostile. It underscored a shift in human consciousness, a step toward communal living for the sake of collective security rather than individual endeavors. Cain's city bore the mark of an unintended consequence of his actions, reflecting a nascent understanding that strength, even when born of wrong, must now be bound with others. As Cain's lineage began to unfold, the city served as the backdrop for a tapestry of professional diversification, as noted in Genesis. In this early city, the roots of specialized trades began to take hold, driven not by ambition to excel in arts or crafts, but by the pressing necessity to adapt and survive amidst fractious conditions. The subsequent generations birthed pioneers like Jabal, Jubal, and Tubal-Cain, whose names became synonymous with foundational societal roles such as herding, music, and metallurgy, professions that would shape human civilization in profound ways, to be explored further in subsequent discussions on technological innovations. This aspect of Cain's story invites us to reflect on the duality of human creativity and destructiveness. His building of a city from fear echoes through the centuries, illustrating how humanity often crafts responses to existential dilemmas from its most profound vulnerabilities. Instead of crumbling under the weight of divine exile, Cain's determination to construct a communal habitation can be seen as an attempt to rebuild a semblance of order and purpose, life striving against chaos. The city of Enoch thus stands as an early monument to humanity's resilience and perverse ingenuity in adapting to a cursed existence on earth. In light of this, Cain's narrative imparts a critical lesson. While fear and estrangement can indeed spur innovation, the motives behind such developments deeply affect the trajectory of civilization. The city, born from a place of fear, encapsulates a central tenet of human history, the intertwining of societal progress with the darker threads of our nature. Through Cain's story, one discerns that even in the aftermath of moral failure, the quest for security and continuity prevails, inspiring future generations to build, innovate, and seek refuge in community, albeit imperfectly. Moving beyond the text from Genesis, this city, the first in biblical recounting, prefigures some of the fundamental questions that have come to define humanity's urban endeavors. What do we build, and why? How does the collective memory of past transgressions shape the contours of our civilization? In answering these larger-than-life questions, we come to see that beneath the layers of stone and mortar, every city still stands as a testament to both the fallibilities and fortitudes of those who built it. The story of Cain and his descendants unfolds against a backdrop of tumultuous beginnings, rooted in exile and marked by an urgent desire to redefine identity and survival tactics. While the city founded by Cain symbolized a reaction to the fragility of existence post-fall, the ensuing generations would not only create spaces to inhabit, but also begin delineating roles within these spaces, carving out domains of mastery that would fundamentally alter human society. In the narrative groundwork laid by Genesis 4:20-22, we meet the figures of Jabal, Jubal, and Tubal-Cain, each a forebear of particular technological expertise. Their stories are succinctly mentioned, yet the ramifications of their work would ripple through their communities in profound ways. Jabal is depicted as the father of those who dwell in tents and have livestock, suggesting not only the domestication of animals, but also the development of a nomadic way of life that stressed mobility and resourcefulness. This innovation did more than ensure survival. It spoke to an adaptability and a newfound relationship with the natural world. The herding lifestyle necessitated a different kind of societal structure, one where group dynamics adapted to the demands of persistent movement and communal cooperation. Jubal, delineated as the father of all those who play the lyre and pipe, extends this narrative into the realm of culture. Music, in its primal form, was more than mere entertainment. It was a spiritual expression and a social binder. Through the crafting of instruments and the development of music, Jubal's descendants tapped into rituals of worship, storytelling, and cohesion. These instruments marked a significant leap in human consciousness, offering a way to preserve history and emotion, rhythmically notating the passages of daily life and seasons. In the annals of early human civilization, Jubal's contribution legitimizes the power of creative arts as instruments of divine connection and communal harmony, underscoring an emergent sophistication in human thought. The narrative of Tubal-Cain shifts the paradigm into the realm of practical innovation with his work as the forger of all instruments of bronze and iron. Metallurgy represented the zenith of technological advancement for Cain's descendants. Tubal-Cain's smithing skills denoted a transition from rudimentary stone implements to tools with sharper, more effective purposes. These items had dual uses, advancing agricultural practices and potentially serving as tools of war and defense in a world shaped by interclan tensions. This drive for technological advancement was wistfully pragmatic. It acknowledged the necessity for communities to arm themselves against the external pressures of jealousy and aggression. Yet, within the development of such technology also lay the seeds for unity, providing the means to cultivate land, build more permanent structures for shelter, and create implements for everyday life beyond basic survival. The division of labor among these figures illustrates the broadening of societal roles beyond immediate survival needs. Emerging specialties allowed for intricate social stratifications, gradually fostering hierarchies and roles that would define human society throughout history. This diversification marked an era when societal pressures no longer merely encapsulated biological drives, but veered into the intricate web of identity and purpose. This era compelled humanity to look beyond the mere act of subsistence and toward a shared communal progress. In these early technological advancements, we see the precursors to societal development, systems of trade, alliances, and conflicts that would shape civilizations. The consequences of these technologies were profound. They fostered community independence and intercommunal exchange, inadvertently constructing bridges ripe for both connection and contention. Jabal's innovations in herding, Jubal's endeavors in music and community rituals, and Tubal-Cain's breakthroughs in metallurgy coalesced to push society toward complexity. These advancements contributed to greater societal stability, but also contained the ambiguity of dual use. Instruments that could nurture life might equally be turned to tools of conflict. Importantly, the development of these technologies framed human identity around creativity and dominion over the earth. Such creativity was seen as an echo of divine creation, a theme that can be traced from the biblical account to its real-world applications. The tapestry woven by the descendants of Cain illustrates that, even in the recesses of perceived exile and under the weight of ancestral sin, the seeds of innovation and culture burgeoned. The tale of these technological strides compels us to recognize our current potential for influence, creation, and transformation in shaping the present and the future, bearing the inherent duality of our creations for both flourishing and destruction. In a time now shrouded by the mists of antiquity, the dawn of human innovation birthed both profound wisdom and the inherent risk of unbridled power. The earliest civilizations, burgeoning with the flickers of technological zeal as chronicled in our previous discussions, meat-tea and mingled skills in metalwork, music, and herding, foundations laid by Cain's descendants. These advances, however, bore the double-edged potential of salvation and ruin. While the innovation signified human capacity for creation, it silently sowed the seeds of discord that would eventually lead to decay and devastation. As civilizations grew, so too did the avenues for moral and ethical deterioration. Genesis 6 paints a poignant picture when it states, "The earth was corrupt in God's sight and full of violence." This landscape of burgeoning chaos wasn't solely manifested in physical war or external confrontation, but infiltrated the very fabric of human relations and societal values. The lust for power, unchecked, often led to conquest at the price of virtue and the succumbing to inner darkness overshadowing communal harmony. The teachings of early societies, rooted in faith and spiritual obedience, began to fray as individuals pursued personal ambitions over collective well-being. In the shadows of these towering symbols of human achievement lurked the specter of moral corruption. The verse, "Every inclination of the thoughts of the human heart was only evil all the time," from Genesis 6, underscores the intensity of internal struggle. Human hearts, once aligned with God's divine purpose, drifted towards self-serving inclinations. Technological prowess that should have ushered in an era of enlightenment and advancement rather became instruments of division. Extending knowledge and skills into weaponry and fortification, the noble gifts bestowed upon humanity were twisted into tools of oppression. One can envision the cacophony of hammers upon anvils not just as labor creating musical headers or plows, but also in the fashioning of armaments. As experience in metallurgy deepened, so too did its applications diversify. Yet, rather than unifying communities through shared progress, these innovations widened the chasms between tribes and nations. The cycle of retribution and rivalry escalated tempers and intolerance, each conflict prompting a need for still more powerful tools of war, more formidable defenses, inevitably leading towards annihilation and downfall. The narrative of Noah introduces us to a faithful servant amidst a population swept by downfall and corruption. God's instructions to Noah to build an ark, a veritable symbol of divine salvation and human humility, serve as both an admonishment and an offer of hope. The floods that followed, described in Genesis 7, were nature's ultimate reset, a purgative calamity cleansing the earth of its accumulated violence and moral decay. This story embodies a profound spiritual rebirth, where from destruction a purified world emerges, echoing a timeless spiritual truth. Renewal is often born from trial and tribulation. In the introspective silence following this divine deluge, one senses the resetting of an era, the willing relinquishment of arrogance, an invitation to realign with divine intention and communal values. As the waters receded, they revealed not just a literal new world, but an opportunity for mankind to return to the principles of stewardship, empathy, and cooperation. The fall of these first civilizations serves as an enduring cautionary tale. Their stories, etched within the sacred texts, remind us that unchecked advancement without moral governance can lead to destruction. Today, as we stand upon the precipices of our own technological epochs, we are compelled to learn from their downfall. It's a summons to maintain harmony between innovation and ethics, ensuring that today's tools of progress serve the higher purpose of enlightenment, reflecting God's oversight and mankind's collective wisdom. Each decision can lead towards further division, or it can reforge the unity that is our very essence, crafting not just civilizations but truly cohesive and hopeful communities.